Hey yo, what's up GameLeap? It's Item Shop Eggs back at it. I hope you're all looking forward to next patch. And in this video, guys, we're going to be revealing the 10 best builds of the new 11.8 patch. And the champions you have to abuse these on. Now, I'm sure we all know by now that Season 11 is legit League of Items. If your champion doesn't synergize well with the new mythics, the new and updated legendaries, and the rest of the shop, chances are you're going to be more upset than Doublelift looks in that Pro Guards ad you got. So to avoid being upset, I've got two solutions for you. Stick around for the whole video, that's number one. And the second is to make use of the 50% sale on our annual memberships, 50%. And you know what? Because I'm such a nice guy, I'm also going to be giving one of you lucky members a free coaching session. How good is that? So get your membership today, guys, or update your existing one with the promo code SPRING to qualify. Links, as always, in the description and comment section. All right, let's get into it. And the first build we have to talk about is one that includes an 11.8 nerfed major item. But you see, this build, guys, is going to be almost as nuts as Urgot's current one. So at the moment, you're building Titanic Hydra and then Stridebreaker. Well, because of the nerf to Titanic, it's still worth to build Titanic first, but follow it up with a Frostfire Gauntlet. And here's why. With the Titanic change, you're losing out on AD because it's scaling with your bonus health instead of your total health. And early on, this will be a hit because you obviously don't have that much HP from items or runes, but later on, this will be less significant. And this is where Frostfire comes in. It gives you 150 more HP than Stridebreaker and also gives you 100 HP for each legendary item you have via its mythic passive. So what this does is it minimizes your losses from the Titanic nerf and keeps you almost as OP as you were. The on-hit from Titanic still gets pumped into your W, and the slow from Frostfire also triggers from your Purge. So the stickiness you're missing from Stridebreaker is actually still there in the Gauntlet. I mean, Urgot does have one of the highest win rates in the game, and with this setup, nothing will change in 11.8. Now, just ahead of this combo, guys, is another that has propelled Ahri in particular to the top of the win rate department and has helped any mage who can viably build it compete in this meta. So the core item is Everfrost, followed by Zhonya's Hourglass or Cosmic Drive. And for AP damage dealers who have some sort of setup in their kit, so think of an Ahri Charm or a Silas Chain, the slow and root from Everfrost is the real wow factor. This then allows you to land all of your CC and combo in quick succession, and if your teammates are somewhat in the vicinity, it's GG. But it's not just great offensively, guys, it's also great defensively, and stops you from dying 10 times a game. When that enemy Zed or Bruiser or hard engaged support jumps on you, you can use the Glaciate active to halt them in their progress and either return fire or back out of that sticky situation. You can also build Lucidity Boots to complement this build because you are all about cooldowns, hence the Cosmic Drive purchase, and even though these haste sneakers will cost 50 more gold, this means nothing, so still one of the top builds for next patch. Now, you know another build that will be super strong next patch, guys? Well, you know this season how Jhin, Graves, and Misfortune have been the best out of the marksman class. This build is why, and I'm sure you're all familiar with it by now. Gale Force is your mythic, into the Collector, into Infinity Edge. You get mobility with Gale Force and a lot of underrated damage with the Cloudburst active, so you can execute enemies or escape difficult situations. You get lethality and therefore better damage and then execute with the Collector. And Infinity Edge gives those crits of yours even more damage and a big chunk of AD as well. This gives you so much offensive power that you can finally battle it out with all the other damage dealers in the game like Camille, Kha'Zix, Akali, all of them. And in this meta, guys, it is certainly harder to stay alive as an AD carry, but that's the thing. It's more about who can kill the other the fastest, so stacking damage is key. It's almost like your role as an AD carry or marksman changes into a one-shot or an assassin, and this build fills that purpose perfectly. So keep investing in Gale Force, the Collector, and Infinity Edge in 11.8, guys. Now, speaking of assassins, who wants an item rush that will let you mages out there one-shot anyone who gets a bit too close? Well, it's simple, guys. You buy a Night Harvester. For Diana, Elise, Fizz, even Rumble, if any champion gets in range of one of your abilities, whether that's an Elise Cocoon, a Diana Q, a Fizz Ultimate, a Rumble Harpoon, it's over. You see, ever since Riot put more AP into the NH at the start of the season, Diana and Elise in particular have been sending it. This, of course, means your abilities are dealing more damage, and with the burst from Night Harvester's passive, you can one-shot anyone on the Rift. Now, what's also interesting next patch, guys, is that for Rumble, the Night Harvester rush is going to be even more oppressive because you are getting buffed, in the top lane that is, so your early to mid game, if it wasn't already near impossible to deal with, yeah, now it's impossible. So if you're sick of seeing the enemy auto-fill top laner picking a brain-dead tank and getting away with it, get around Night Harvester Rumble, and if you just want wins, this item rush on the mentioned champions is for sure one of the strongest on the 11.8 Rift. Now, this next build, guys, we've already talked about Titanic Hydra's nerf, but there is actually another build that is fueling the power of Yorick and Camille, who are two of the best champions on the Rift, if not the two best. So your build starts with Trinity Force, and the updated version is nutty for damage-based bruisers like Camille, Yorick, and Wukong. It gives you more AD or more rounded passive, and lets you proc the threefold strike passive on towers, so you can split push your way to victory without having to group with your feeding team all the time. But you aren't really complete until you finish your Sterix Gauge and Titanic Hydra after your TF, and this 3-item combo is one of the scariest in the game. The help you get from Gauge gets injected into Titanic's Colossal passive, and both passives give you the survivability and sustain you need in extended fights, which is what you want if you're on a Conqueror Keystone fighter, and Titanic gives you more tankiness and decent damage with both passives. boxes. So not only are you hard to take down, you also hit harder than anyone. And have you guys had to play against a Camille or Yorick with this setup? You get bonked. Now kicking off the top 5 11-8 builds, guys, we have another item rush, and this one has seen champions like Katarina and Teemo take off recently, and they will continue to do so next patch. And this spike is Nash's Tooth, and this is easily one of the biggest major item spikes in the game on the right champions. Now why is it so good? Well, these champions I mentioned, Teemo, Katarina, even Kayle can still pop off of it. These guys all have on hit. And what does the Tooth have? On hit, that's right, via its passive. Otherwise you're just spending 3,000 gold on AP and attack speed, and it wouldn't really be worth. So the fact Katarina has on hit in her ultimate, Teemo has even more on hit in his E from the 11-7 buff, and Kayle has on hit in her E, this makes Nash's hella worth. And let's not forget you're getting 100 AP. That's a big chunk. So the rest of your abilities are going to hit hard, your wave clear is 10 times better, and it's hard to get near you without getting chunked. So keep sending it with the Tooth rush in 11-8. Now this next build, no doubt, you have all seen this at some point this season, because for 80 assassins, this is the nuts, the bee's knees, the dog's whatsits, and it includes Prowler's Claw and Serpent's Fang. So if you're playing Zed, Kha'Zix, Qiyana, Talon, this is your bread and butter. Honestly, I think Prowler's Claw on one of these assassins is the best mythic combo in the game. It gives you 21 lethality, which is the most in the shop, and the active sand swipe is ridiculously OP. The free dash you get gives you so much outplay potential and comboing potential, and what players don't understand is that when you use your Prowler active, you deal more damage to that target. And all of these champions have some of the highest single target damage in the game, so just think of Kha'Zix or Zed for example. Now Serpent's Fang may not seem that viable, but is there a champion that doesn't have a shield at the moment? You've also got items like Shield Bow Gauge, Gargoyles, so there is never going to be a game, guys, where the Fang isn't useful, especially after it got buffed in 11.5, and in 11.8 you are going to see more shields, and we are very close to revealing why, because it's actually a build that's going to change the support meta. Now just before we get into the most powerful builds of 11.8, guys, one last friendly reminder to check out the GameLeap website. Aren't you tired of winning, then losing, then winning, then losing? Well, it's time to buck that trend so you can start seeing victory on the reg. So do yourself a favor and get signed up, and remember, the code SPRING, use it on your annual memberships, links down below. Now the number 3 build, guys, is another item rush, and most champions are going to follow this up with a Zhonya's or a Lichbane or a Deathcap. I'm looking at all you Galio, Vladimir, and Echo mains out there, and the rush is of course Hextech Rocket Belt, which is getting buffed next patch. Well, it's actually getting adjusted, but yeah, when Riot say that, it's never really the case. But anyway, you're getting Magic Pen as an extra stat as part of the 3,200 gold, but trading 100 HP for it. Now 8p on an off-tank mage like Vladimir is important. It's also useful on Echo and Galio, but 100 HP in this meta with damage flying around all over the place isn't going to save you. But you know what will? Killing the enemy quicker, and this is what that Magic Pen achieves. You see, these mages, guys, also hit hard without it. So if the enemy does have a bit of magic resist, you can afford to give up some of that raw AP for Magic Pen because you have plenty of it. The Vladimir buff is also a big reason why I had to include this item rush in this countdown, but Galio and Echo have been 2 top performers this season, and next patch all 3 are going to be right up there. So get around this setup in 11.8. Now the runner-up to the best build of 11.8, guys, is that support meta breaking build I was just telling you about, and I know most of you out there are tripping at the support item changes next patch, but I'm going to change your mind because the Moonstone Renewer and Staff of Flowing Water combo is going to be insane for 2 champions in particular, Sona and Karma. Now hear me out. So the new Moonstone is going to benefit those spellcasting supports with low cooldowns who can spam their shields and heals, because Starlet's Grace new passive is now increasing that power when in combat. So a Sona spamming W or a Karma spamming E, this is great for. And then we have the Staff of Flowing Water change, which is now empowering allies with ability haste rather than movement speed. And remember, you get access to this as well, so more heals and shields. This could well see more AP carries featuring the bot lane like Karthus and Ziggs, and imagine this in a big team fight at Dragon or Baron. A Sona presses W or a Karma uses her Defiance, and your entire team gets access to this ability haste. Now for other supports, yes, these changes aren't that favorable, but for Sona and Karma, guys, these 2 are going to benefit in a big way. And the nerf to Thresh and recent nerfs to Rel and Alistair make bot lane that little bit easier to scale out of. Oh, and remember to take Revitalize in your runes to amplify that heal and shield power. Now the number 1 build of 11.8, guys, I'm betting none of you would have guessed this to be boasting the #1 spot, but there's a simple reason for it. It's going to be more broken. So it starts with a Divine Sunderer and ends with a Frozen Heart, which is getting buffed. Okay, it's not a huge buff, it's 10 arbor, but still, Nasus is going to be unleashed, you know, because he's a dog. The hybrid damage with Divine Sunderer works wonders with your own hybrid damage, and Frozen Heart is now an even better item against all those popular AD bruisers and fighters, and attack speed based champions we're seeing more of in the bot lane like Jinx and Ashe. Susan has even been picked in pro play in recent times because of this setup, which is funny because Renekton's bro is rarely ever picked by the top players. It goes to show how good he is, and he's even better next patch with the Sunderer and Heart combo. So get stacking next patch, guys. Now if I missed out a secret OP build or item rush, you're gonna have to let me know in the comments. But as always, guys, thanks so much for watching. Remember to hit that sub button and the bell so you don't miss tomorrow's upload, in which I'll be roasting a low elo player who thinks they should be challenger. And until then, this has been Coaches.